Buffie Designs, where beauty begins. DIY treasures and crafty wins. Come join the fun, let your spirit shine. Create with heart in your own design.
Hi and welcome. We're going to start off with an easy DIY. I had hubby cut out the face of these pumpkins that I did a few years ago, and here's the photo of how cute they are. But I wanted to use them on these lamps that I purchased at the thrift store. These lamps didn't have the tops or anything, and I thought they look kind of spooky, so I want to have the pumpkins glow. So that's why I had hubby cut out the faces. My hands aren't strong enough. So I'm going to drill out the holes of these, and believe it or not, these pumpkins are tougher than you think. It was a chore to try to cut this hole big enough, so I started it with the drill on both of these just to give it big enough space to get my wire cutters and those trimmers from Dollar Tree in there so that I could cut the plastic. And they're not perfect, but they fit on there and you can't really see the imperfections. I think they turned out cute on my lamps. What do you think? I just love how they glow with that orange, and it's a soft orange light bulb that I bought, and it just brightens it really a lot. It's pretty bright in our room. And if you're interested in how I created the haunted houses, I'll have that video linked down below, and you'll see how I transformed those thrifted houses into spooky houses. But let me know what you think of these. I love them. My next DIY, I purchased this frame picture at the thrift store, and I didn't like that middle saying, and so I thought I would transform this into something simple and easy. I created, with using AI on CANVA, this cute little ghost picture, and I'm just going to Mod Podge it to that centerpiece of this frame. The frame didn't need anything more to it because it was perfect. I loved it, and at the time that I bought it, I just bought it because I knew I wanted it for something, but I didn't realize how cute this was going to look with this cute little haunted ghost. So let me know what you think of this one. It was simple, easy, and so cute to transform into something spooky. This next DIY, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree ghost, and I found this kind of ghost with a swing idea from an Amazon ad that I saw, and so I thought it was $24.99 when you do the shipping and everything, so I thought it would be easier and cheaper just to make it myself, of course. So I'm just going to clip off the little plastic pieces that they're holding it down, kind of like when you get a tag on your clothing. And I'm just cutting that off so I can use the arms more freely and arrange the sheet part over the arms a little bit better. So I got this piece of wood, and I had hubby cut it down, and we drilled holes in it. He drilled a hole in it on each side, and I have this rope kind of twine that I'm going to use for the swing, and I'm going to use some tape on the end here to make it easier to thread through the wood. So then I'm just going to take that and put it through the hole and then just tie it in 2 knots on the bottom portion so that it won't fall through. And then I can clip off the part where the tape is and do the other side. So here I'm doing the same exact thing, just putting it through the hole and tying 2 knots on the bottom. So now I have both sides in, and I'm going to use my antiquing wax to stain the wood as well as the rope, because I don't want that white rope to stand out. I want it to look aged. So I'm just going to wipe it on and then wipe back the excess so that it just has a little bit of a stained look to it. So here you can see I'm starting on the rope and giving it a little bit darker look so that you can't see it as much. And I'm just staining both sides, and I'll show you here in a sec what it looks like. So since the ghost on Amazon has a light, the only thing I could think of and what I had on hand was this Dollar Tree pillar light or candle. And I'm just digging out the back of it here to fit the candle in there and to glue it down. And here's where I'm gluing it in there. And I want the light facing downward so it shows through the sheet. So now I had hubby video me while I tried to do this on my own. And there is a chair there. I didn't just throw the ghost on the ground. But I had to do a loop knot on each end of the twine to hold it on the nail and to make sure it was straight. And so that's what I'm doing here, and just getting that loop on there, and it's a cute little swing. Makes you want to get on. So now the ghost is a little bit trickier. So the little wire pieces that are on each arm can just loop around the twine and hold on really easy. The arms are bendable, so you can kind of mold them the way you want. And I don't know what I was thinking, but this candle is super heavy and it kept flopping. So I think I was telling my husband I need something on the top of the head, but it just kept flopping and made me laugh. So we cracked up about it and we were done. So here he is in the daylight, and it turned out really cute, even though I had to use the fishing line on his head so you wouldn't see it as much, so that he could hold his head up. And I'll show you a night version as well with the light lit up. But I love how it turned out. Let me know what you think. Here he is at night, and he still looks super cute and spooky, and I didn't think to push the swing and take a video of him swinging. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but he's still adorable. When the wind blows, the wind will swing him. I love how he turned out. So this next DIY is a simple one as well. I picked this up at the thrift store, but I think maybe it came from the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure, but it's just an inexpensive balsa wood type sign that hangs on your wall. It says boo. So I'm going to take it apart with taking off all the ribbon and just having them as separate letters. There was some parts that were broken off, and mostly on this B, that I thought it still looked fine without those on it. So I'm just trying to clean that up and take off the excess that's sitting there, so it looks like it was made to not have it. So I'm just cleaning it up and going to sand down all the areas that are sitting up a little bit rough. So I want the letters to stand up on their own, and so in order to do that, I'm going to use these wood blocks from Dollar Tree. And originally I start with one and then I change it later. So you'll see later what I do. So I'm just getting one for each letter, and we're going to glue them on before we paint them. You should check out my channel for more DIYs for Halloween. I have a few other videos out there, especially ones for witchy stuff that I've just done a few weeks ago. So make sure to check those out as well. So now I'm going to use my folk art black chalk paint and cover both sides, front and back of the letters. I've had these little cute Halloween cutouts for a few years that I picked up on Amazon, and I'll have that link below if I can find it, but I thought it would be cute to spoof these letters up. So for the jack-o'-lantern, I thought it'd be cute to use this terracotta orange, burnt orange color, and kind of mix it with some black too, so you'll see what I do. So I made sure to dry the black before I put the orange on, and I just kind of mixed it in there to kind of make it look spooky and scary. Next up is this cute little bat, and I'm just going over it with just black lines, and then I'm going to, of course, wait for it to dry and then do some of the silver on top. So now the spider, I'm just using some metallic gold to cover it pretty much. I tried to keep it light so you could still see the eyes and everything. So I just did a little bit around everywhere with the gold. So here they are all painted, and I'm just going to put twine in the little holes on top of each of them just to kind of camouflage it, because I didn't want to see the little hole on their heads. So I'm just making it kind of a small little bow on each of them before I glue them down. So here I'm just looking to see where I want to place it, and I kind of want to cover up, you know, as much as the little holes on the letters that I can. This spider is so cute, so I wanted to kind of do it at an angle, so I'm just gluing him down the way I'd like him and put glue on his legs to keep him on there really well. And then just adding the little spooky jack-o'-lantern kind of to the side, but at the top so you can see his eyes too, because I wanted that to show through. He's cute. Okay, so after having these out on my house and they were bouncing everywhere, I decided I needed to add an extra block on the back to give it more stability and weight so that it wouldn't fall over easily as you walk by. So I'm going to glue a block on the other blocks that I've already attached to give it that weight it needs to hold it up. So now I'm just painting each of those blocks black. I have these battery operated Dollar Tree tea lights that I want to paint them black so that you can't see the white through each letter when it's lit up, because it looks kind of like doesn't match. So I want it to all match and look spooky and dark. So I'm just painting the white portion on the top of it all in the same color black. And here it is. I think it turned out super cute, but you let me know what you think. I love how I have the lights behind, and then, like I said, it gave it a little bit more stability so it wasn't going to fall over. I just love how it turned out. I am so excited that Epic Water Filters reached out to me to sponsor my channel and giving me the opportunity to share with you some of their products. Their main product is their pure water filter pitcher. Epic Water Filters started their business back in 2015 and has been going strong ever since. They started off by cleaning up the beaches and ended up building these filters to help the environment in such a big way. And I was so excited to get my hands on one, and we're going to unbox it now. Here's a usage guide here, and it explains all about the company and how to change out your filter. And this particular filter removes any fluoride or PFAs. It's very well made, and it has this sleek design with a wood handle, has an opening to refill easily without taking the lid completely off, and it also comes with a gauge here so that you know exactly when your filter is needing to be changed. So now I'm going to wash it and get it all cleaned up, and we'll start the filter process and we'll see it a little bit closer. And look how pretty that is. I just love it. Then use mild dish soap to gently wash the inside and outside of all of the outer and inner reservoirs. And be careful with the digital filter timer. You do not want to immerse that in water at all, so you want to gently wash around it. And be careful not to put that inner reservoir backwards. Make sure it's on correctly so the lid will fit correctly as well. For the first time using it, you will want to do 2 filter processes before you start drinking the filtered water. Now that I've ran the water through, filtering it twice, I'm going to fill it up for me to be able to start drinking it. Then we want to take the plastic piece off of the digital timer and press start. Now you can see that there's 90 days left on that filter. I do want to let you know that it turned out super clear. I was so surprised how clear it was, and you just want to enjoy a nice clean glass of pure water. And as a special thank you, Epic Water Filters has given me a special code to give all of my viewers an extra 15% off on every purchase. I'll have the code in the description down below, but it is GetEpic15. I hope that you'll take advantage of this offer and get you one of these wonderful pictures and the high quality that they are, but the 15% is off of any product on their website. Thanks again, Epic Water Filters, for sponsoring this video. For this next DIY, I'm using this DAS air dry clay to put into one of the IOD molds that I've been wanting to do this for a while. And it is the Cameo mold. And this one here is a little harder clay, so I'm trying to kind of soften it up, and I need to put some moisture in it to get it to be more flexible to work with. So now I'm going to put the clay into the mold, and what I should have done prior to this, which I totally forgot to do, is put some baking soda into the mold before you put this clay in, because then it will come out a lot easier and it won't stick. And it still worked out, which I lucked out on this, but make sure to dust it with some baking soda and in there before you start putting the clay in. So you just kind of want to put it in there, and as you're adding extra like I just did, you want to blend it with the portion that you just put in so that it's smooth and doesn't break up, and it looks all as one cohesive piece. And then as you're finished, you want to make sure that back is smooth and use your thumb to break away all the excess amount of clay from the mold, and then it will come out really smooth, and you won't have to really clean it up much after you're done with it. One tip you can do is use some water on your fingertips to help smooth that back out. It works really well. So then you want to gently pull back the mold so it exposes the clay. And again, where I didn't have the baking soda in, it's a little bit harder to pull it away from it, but like I said, it still worked out, and you just want to be really gentle with it. And she's super pretty for now. And I didn't mention, but I'm making a witch cameo, so I hope you really enjoy this one because I had a lot of fun creating it. So now I'm taking some additional clay, working it with your hand. You want to make sure it's nice and soft to be able to add pieces on, because you want it to be soft in order to have it adhere. And so I'm just taking some to create a hat for the top of her head. And so I'm just making it into a cone shaped, and then kind of making that hat loop kind of on the end, is where it kind of bends down. And I really enjoy this piece. It really turned out so cute. I'm pretty excited for you to see what it looks like. So now I'm going to make her hat flat on the back, and then I want to kind of make it a little curved so that it will go over her head and lay flat on the back, because this is all going to go on a wood piece. So I'm just kind of shaping it how I think it would look cute on her, or look good on her, and just shaping it out. So now I'm making the brim of the hat, and I'm just taking a piece and flattening it down so that I can roll it out with a rolling pin. And I don't want it too flat, and I think I did get it a little too flat, and it's a little wide. So what I did was I just folded it down and then molded it to the top of the hat, or the brim part of the hat, and then folded it around her head so it looks like she's wearing the hat. And as you're doing this, just make sure to be careful to not push too hard, and to push it down so that it adheres to the other part of the clay. And you can also use water to smooth out any portions that are either you've stuck your fingernail in it, or it's just not smooth how you like it, and also to help the other piece that you're putting onto the clay to help it adhere better to that clay, and smoothing everything out. And then just mold it how you want it to look. And it was so much fun to make this. I'd been wanting to do this since last year, and I had to push myself to do it this year so that I could bring it to you just in time for Halloween. I know it's a little late to go and get everything that you need to make this, but it'll be there for next year if you're planning on making it for Halloween for next year. So now I'm just taking a little bit of the clay to make a longer chin and a longer nose. So the chin, I'm just kind of molding it down, and then I want to pinch it out so it looks longer and pointy, like a witch's chin. And then making her nose a little wider and longer as well. I want it to look pointy and witchy poo kind of thing. And she just turns out super cute as a witch, and it was a lot of fun to create. So now I thought she needed more hair towards her face to be more spooky. So I'm adding a few more ringlets onto her, and again using the water to help adhere it to the top portion of her hair, because I felt like it was too pretty the way it was pulled back away from her face, and I needed some kind of more snaky looking kind of ringlets in her face. And I'm glad I did that because it really helped. It turned out really cute. So just adhering that in there, making sure it looks cute, putting another little piece to help loop it into the rest of her hair. So now I'm just rolling some more and really smaller roll piece because I want to make her eyelid and under her eyes, make her look old and really spooky and kind of like worn out and like she hasn't slept for days and days and days. So I'm adding that around her eyes to make her eyes look more popped out per se. And so I just thought that added a lot of detail to her face. And so that's what I'm doing here. So I let her dry for about a day and a half before I painted her because she was really a little thicker, so it took a while to dry. So I'm using this metallic neon green, and it turns out so good and perfect for this project. So I'm just putting it on, and I did mix it with a little water so it wasn't so stark, and kind of went over it a few times with this watered down paint. And I did everywhere except for the around the eyeballs and the hat. So everything else, oh, and the hair, I did do the hair, but her ear and everywhere was that same green color, and it was just perfect color. I couldn't believe it. So now I also watered down the black paint so that it didn't, paint really stark, and I wanted it to look kind of dingy. So it went on really well, and I did do, I think, another coat after this, and I kind of wanted to get around the edges and inside by her head, but I had to be really careful when I was getting inside there. I'm sorry, and I do not know what happened to the footage on painting her hair with a watered down brown paint or painting her pupils, but I already have that done, and I'm using this really mellow bright yellow paint to go around her eyeballs to make her look even more spooky. So I just want to give it a little bit of a touch up there to cover any white in her eyes so that it looks really yellowy. So now I'm taking this black wax and going over all the crevices, and I didn't even show, and I apologize again, I kind of put my nail into certain areas in her neck and chest as well as her face to make it look like scars and kind of more stone looking, and so it just helps give it that detail it needed. So I'm just brushing over all of it with the the black wax, and then rubbing it back and putting it a little darker in those grooves that I mentioned. And also I do put a little bit on the hat too to kind of enhance that black hat, so it gives it a little bit more of a little sheen to it. It just turns out so super cool. I just love it. And wait till you see how I do the actual wood piece with the cameo. So now I'm starting with this oval shaped piece of wood that I picked up at the thrift store, and I originally started out with all of this, and it took me a while to get to the final product because I couldn't decide how I wanted that background to look. And I started with this, I did some black in it, and it just didn't work out, and so I ended up changing it altogether. So after changing it several times, this is like the third background where it had the gray, black, and everything. and I was just not liking it at all. So we are just going to paint the whole thing, the front and the sides, this black chalk paint. And I didn't have to give it too many coats because it already had quite a bit of coats on it from trying to figure out what I was wanting to do. So the final product turns out so much better than I even imagined. So I have this idea that I'm going to try to create some kind of a frame to go around that wood piece, the oval wood piece. And I'm just rolling out to, not too thick but not too thin of a piece of that same clay I used for the witch. And my table is sloping, so I couldn't put pressure on the one part, so I have to get that table fixed. Anyway, so I'm just rolling this out, and then I have some IOD stamps that I thought would be perfect for this in order to do like emboss it kind of thing. This is the first time I'm using these stamps, and I can't believe how beautiful each of these are, and I couldn't wait to try them on something. And this I haven't done before, and so it's in my mind, and I hoped it would turn out the way I want, and it totally did. So I ended up not using the curved piece there that I'm showing because it didn't go around cohesively with the straight one, and you'll see here in a little bit what I end up doing. But I'm rolling over the stamp to just indent it into the clay and not too hard on it because I didn't want it to go too deep in. And then I'm just aligning it to the next one where the next strip would be, and so on. And then that way I can see where to cut everything, and it works out really well this way. So now I'm just cutting each of these straight edged so that it'll be just like one line trim type thing. And this just turned out so much better than I imagined. And I'm so glad I thought of this technique because I had seen other people create clay type dishes and stuff with the embossing of a stamp. And I thought this would be a perfect time to try this out on this frame. And I almost had enough just with this piece, but I did have to do one other strip that's around that same size to make it go all the way around and for it to work. So now I have all my strips, and like I said before, I didn't end up using those little curved ones because they didn't work with the rest of it very well. And so I'm trying just to match it up as best I can and cut the edges down so that it works well together. And even though I had worked with each piece to kind of try to make it stick together and look like it was seamless, it still ended up cracking. But then in the long run, I was thinking it's a witch's cameo, so we want it to be kind of old looking and cracked kind of thing. So I'm just going to mold this all the way around and cut the edges to where the pattern on the design will kind of blend well together as well. And so I'm just kind of fitting it so it would work correct all the way around, and then I'll end up kind of molding it more together later. So now that I have them all around where I want them to be, I kind of sanded back the wood around where I want this to glue so that it could adhere to it without going on to direct paint. So I'm just spreading out the glue here. It was a little clumpy, it's older, but it still really works. And so I'm just making sure all of the areas are covered with the glue before I put it down. And now that it's all on, I'm just using some water with my fingertips to try to blend each of those pieces together so it looks a little bit more like it was, all one piece. But again, it still has some cracking, which is wonderful. And if it was something I wanted to be super, super pretty, I would have spent more time and cut these out longer so there wasn't much of a seam. And then I'm just cleaning up the excess clay that came off as well as the glue because I don't want that to show up on that center portion of the picture. Now it's all dry and look how cool it looks. It turned out really cool. So now I'm just going to give the whole thing another coat of black and even the frame portion, and getting into all the grooves of that design so that it gets deep in there. And then I'm also repainting around the sides as well because it got some glue and everything on there. So I wanted it to be nice and pretty now that it's all finished with all of the clay. So now I'm going to use this crackle medium from Folk Art. I am a plaid ambassador and they sent this to me last year and I haven't tried it, which I don't know why, because I love this stuff now. So I was going to try the glue effect for a crackle, but this turned out so easy to use, and so I'm glad I remembered I had it and tried this. And you want to put on a really good coat. You don't want to be chintzy with this because depending on the crackle that you're looking for, the effect that you want. But I put on a really good coat for this one, and also I wanted to try the glue effect, but it looked it's similar, but it seemed more like it didn't give me what I wanted, and this did perfect. So I'm glad I used this one. So just want to give the whole thing a really good coat. I did the edge too, like the trim, thinking it might show through that black, but it didn't. So I'm not, I think you have to have a light coat over it for it to really show. So now I'm using this Castle Gray chalk paint for the center portion of this, and I waited for the crackle to dry just to touch because I think that made a big difference. If I waited longer for it to really dry thoroughly, I don't think I would have got quite as good of an effect. So I'm just giving it one coat on the center portion, and as you paint on the crackle, even on glue, I noticed that if you double stroke over it, it will pull up your paint that you just put down. So if you kind of dab it when that happens, you can fill it in. And you just want to be careful not to keep stroking the paint over the top of it, because then, like I said, it'll bring it up away from your project. And I did notice I had to work fast, otherwise it was going to hurry and crackle in the area before I could stroke again. So just be careful with it. And look at it, it's already starting to crackle, as you can see. And it just turns out really pretty. You'll love it at the end. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any gray around the frame portion because I want that left black. So now I'm using this Jolie white wax for the frame and getting into all the grooves of the design that's on there and wiping it back. Now look at the crackle on that gray. Look how pretty that turned out. It looks really pretty already, but wait till you see it. And so I'm just gonna go through all of the grooves, and I was trying to decide for sure if I wanted to or not, but it turned out really good and I'm glad I did. So I noticed after the witch had dried, her eyes dulled a lot, and so I used some black to make her pupils stick out. So we're almost done, and I'm just taking some Gorilla Glue and putting on the back side of her and giving her a really good coat because I don't want her to fall off of this plaque, and just making sure it's all even on the tip of her hat, all the way around, everywhere. And we'll get her glued onto that plaque and show off her glory. And there she is. Look how pretty she turned out. I am so proud of this piece. I love the crackle. I love the witch. And I'm going to display her every Halloween from here on out. Let me know in the comments what you think of her. And I'm going to show you next how I styled it. Well, I think she turned out wonderful. What do you think? Let me know down below. It was a lot of fun to create, and I'm so glad that I worked with the crackle paint because it made this piece what it is. I love it. And also make sure to check out my other videos, not only just my Halloween ones, but all of my other videos I have on here. And also please like and share my videos. That helps my channel out a lot. I had so much fun with all of the Halloween decor this year, so let me know what you think of all of it, and I hope to see you again on my next video. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.